Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Cherry Pickers Podcast, a podcast where we talk all things hockey. My name is Zach, aka Zoo, and I'm joined here with my co-host Brody.
How's it going, everybody? Excited to be back for episode 4. It's been an exciting week in the world of hockey, and let's get right on into her.
Yeah, episode number 4. So that's 1 month, Brody, we've been doing this podcast for. We upload our episodes every single Sunday, 12:30 Mountain Time. Like you said, it has been a very, very exciting this week in hockey, not only in the NHL, but also in international hockey as well. But I think for this episode, we're going to kick things off in the NHL, and then we'll move to the international game afterwards. So let's talk about probably the biggest headline this week, Brody. Montreal and Calgary made a trade. Man, as a Flames fan, I am so happy right now. I'm on the moon. I'm so stoked. So Montreal trades Calgary Tyler Toffoli in exchange for Tyler Pitlick, Emil Heineman, a 2022 first-round pick, and a 2024 fifth-round pick. That first-round pick that goes to Montreal is top 10 protected. So if the pick's in the top 10, then Calgary gives Montreal their 2023 first-round pick. So Toffoli for Pitlick, Heineman, a first and a fifth. Brody, before we even start discussing this trade, who won it?
I think as of right now, I would say the Calgary Flames won the trade. When you're looking at where they are in the standings, they're gearing up for a playoff run, and they add a top 6 forward. Really bolsters the depth on that team. However, I would say long-term, it's really up in the air. Montreal, if they hit on that first-round pick, they could get a very, very good player from that. But right now, I would say the Calgary Flames have won this deal.
I have to agree with you. I truly think Calgary won this trade. The first thing is Toffoli, he's got a good contract. He's only making something like $4.225, I think, for 2 more years after this year. So he's locked up for a couple more years, which is huge for Calgary. But, they finally got their right-handed scoring winger. They've been searching for one since the 2018, 2019 deadline when Mark Stone was up in the air. They finally got that right-handed shot winger. And it's kind of funny because actually at last year's trade deadline, Tyler Toffoli was traded to the Vancouver Canucks from Los Angeles. Not last year, sorry, this was 2 years ago. And the Flames were in the talk for Toffoli as well during that trade deadline, and nothing ever came of it. And Toffoli went to the Canucks and then Montreal, but he's now in Calgary, which is awesome to see. He's a proven goal scorer. He's a great shooter, not the best skater, but he always finds a way to put the puck in the net. The trade is it's a perfect mesh for, Toffoli and the Flames. Toffoli has, playoff experience. He made it to the Stanley Cup final last year with Montreal. He also won a Stanley Cup in his rookie year with the Los Angeles Kings. Not to mention the head coach of the Kings at that time, Daryl Sutter, the Flames' current head coach. And he was also on the same team with Trevor Lewis as well. Trevor Lewis was on the Los Angeles Kings at that time as well. And Toffoli also played with Jacob Markstrom and Chris Tanev in Vancouver when he got traded there at that trade deadline in 1920. And he also played junior hockey with Sean Monahan. They played on a line together for the Ottawa 67s in the OHL. So having those connections already established really just helps Toffoli mesh in with the team quicker and better, which is awesome to see because they're making that playoff push. Playing Toffoli on that third line with Monahan and Dubé, it's already shown results. Like Toffoli scored in his first goal as a Flame, in his first game, against the Blue Jackets. And Dylan Dubé in his last 2 games with Toffoli on that line has a goal in each game. That line combined for 6 points in the last 2 games, which is crazy good to see, seeming that Dubé and Monahan were in a slump. Monahan's been a very bad plus-minus player. Dubé went 13 games without a goal. He's had kind of an off season, but hopefully with adding Toffoli there, it will add some spark to that line there. So I definitely think that the Flames won this trade. Like you said, Brody, it could be a long-term thing. You never know what that first-round pick is going to turn out to be, but as it stands right now, Calgary adds another scoring winger, and man, are they ever red hot, Brody. They have been on a tear in the month of February. They're on an 8-game win streak right now. They're playing Seattle tonight, so hopefully they can make it 9, but they're 9-1-0 in their last 10. They're 7th in the league in goals, 2nd in shots on goal, 11th in power play percentage, 1st in goals allowed, 5th in shots on goal allowed, and 3rd in penalty kills. So it's not even just that they're playing good offensively, but their defense has been lights out too. And that's largely because of Jacob Markstrom's been having such a career year as well. He leads the league in shutouts with 8. But the Flames have been a wagon, Brody. What do you think of the Flames so far right now? What do you think? Do you think they're going to be a cup contender, or do you think they're going to fall short?
Well, first of all, I do hope they win tonight because I have Markstrom and Lindholm on my fantasy team. But yeah, I mean, Calgary, I could definitely see them having a decent playoff run. However, I don't think they're going to win the cup. I think they're going to fall short. No, I just think that the teams in the Western Conference, like Colorado, is a very experienced, very, very strong team. Vegas has been there in the playoffs, and Calgary's going to have to get through Vegas as well. So it'll be interesting to see, but to be honest, I don't think Calgary's going to go all the way.
Hey, you never know, man. The Flames, last time they played Vegas, beat them 6-0. So it is hockey, and it's the NHL. Anything really can happen, but I don't know. I think it's just like seeing the team, how well they play as a team truly gives me more hope. Like, it's evident that they're all, buying into Daryl Sutter's, coaching scheme. And they've been working just so good as a unit, as a whole. Like, there's really no weak links per se. Like, I mean, you could say Monahan has been a weak link and maybe, the fourth line. But they've really picked up their weight now since they got to Foley, and they've been on a roll right now. So we'll have to see. They're first in the Pacific. They have the 4th best goal differential at plus 52, which is only behind Florida, Colorado, and Carolina. So 10th in the league. They're definitely on their way to a playoff spot, but only time will tell, so we'll have to keep tabs on that. Let's go more north in the province of Alberta, Brody. Let's talk about the Oilers. They're doing pretty good too. They're rolling as well. They just won today against Winnipeg 4-2. They're on a 5-game win streak. What's contributing to their success right now, Brody?
It would definitely be their depth scoring. They're buying in Woodcroft's system as well. He's approached things a little bit differently. He's running 11 forwards instead of 12, and he's actually going 7 defensemen. He's kept his lines the same throughout, and everybody's getting a bit more ice time, so guys are more fresh, and they're just able to continue their pace, and they're getting scoring outside of Draisaitl and McDavid right now. They're getting players like Warren Fogle, Zach Hyman, Kyler Yamamoto, Derek Ryan even pitching in as well in their bottom 6. So depth scoring, especially 5-on-5. It's not just their power play. And their 5-on-5 goals against has been really, really solid. Only giving up 8 goals in those 5 games. So they're playing a lot better at even strength, and they're buying into Woodcroft's system, and you're seeing the results on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. 5-0 after firing Dave Tippett and bringing in Jay Woodcroft. To touch on that depth scoring, Brody, 16 of their last 22 goals in those 5 games were all scored by players other than McDavid and Draisaitl, which is absolutely what Edmonton needs. Edmonton can't rely on those guys. Yes, they are extremely talented players, but it's evident, and it's been evident for the last few years, that you can't rely on just those players to score for you, because especially, the Oilers, yes, they are a very dominant team on the power play, but you got to remember in the playoffs, the refs put the whistles in the pocket a little bit. The refs don't call as many penalties in the playoffs, so you really need to be thriving, especially a 5-on-5. And they've been doing that lately with Jay Woodcroft, so that's nice to see. Unfortunate news, though, for Oilers fans. Jesse Puljujarvi left the Ducks game and will be out for the next 4 weeks with a lower body injury. It's kind of unfortunate. The big Finnish winger, he was on pace for a career year. He has 12 goals, 28 points in only 46 games this year. It's going to be a little bit of a hit for the depth scoring for the Oilers, but we'll have to keep tabs on that and watch and see if they can keep getting it done even without having Puljujarvi in the lineup. What do you think? How much does that affect the Oilers to lose a guy like Puljujarvi in their lineup, Brody?
It definitely does hurt. I mean, Puljujarvi's a big body. He can go to the net. He's super fast. He's got some skill in their top 6. It's definitely a big loss considering a lot of Puljujarvi's production is at even strength. Yeah, he's a very good forward, and their winger depth on the right side after Puljujarvi is really lackluster because they're also missing Zach Kassian. So it's definitely a big loss to the Oilers, and we'll see what they can do from there.
Yeah, Puljujärvi's definitely stepped it up a lot this year, but last year was nothing to push over as well. He had a very good year last year, but yeah, like you were saying, a lot of his scoring is definitely on 5, and that's what I was interested about last year. He scored something, what, like 40 points, was it, give or take?
Yeah, I think he had 15 goals and 25 assists last year.
Yeah, so 40 points last year, and he never touched the ice on the power play, which was very impressive. Of course, you're going to score points when you're playing with, McDavid and Draisaitl. It's obvious. But seeing how much he's grown as a player and how much he's grown as a person as well, it's definitely been, everything, it's been all up for Puljujärvi. Even, his English, he's been learning, he's been getting better at his English. And I think that's definitely been helping him thrive, in Canada. So it's very unfortunate to see a guy like Puljujärvi go down for 4 weeks, especially when he's having such a good year, and the Oilers definitely need that scoring. But hopefully the Oilers can get it done. They're still in a good position right now. There's still a good chance to make a playoff spot. It is a weak Pacific Division, so I don't count the Oilers out yet, but only time will tell. So Flames and Oilers, they're both rolling. They're both looking good. The Flames are on an 8-game win streak. The Oilers are on a 5-game win streak. So you love to see it as a hockey fan from Alberta. You hate to see it as a hockey fan from California. Let's move over to the East now, Brody. So Montreal is not done making moves. So last week they hired Martin St. Louis, Tampa Bay Lightning legend, as their intern head coach. And now they just hired another Tampa Bay Lightning legend. They hired Vincent Lecavalier as the special advisor to hockey operations for the Canadiens. What do you think of this hiring, Brody, for the Canadiens?
I like it, to be honest. I mean, Lecavalier and St. Louis are very familiar with each other, having played hockey together in Tampa. Lecavalier is a great hockey mind. He'll be a great addition to their front office. And he's also had a fantastic career himself in 17 seasons. 421 goals, 528 assists over 1,212 games, and he is also a Stanley Cup champion, so definitely a great addition for the Montreal Canadiens, and hopefully he can do well alongside Martin St. Louis.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of that trending where a lot of former hockey players are coming in as, advisors and stuff like that. People that played the game and understand the game are getting hired in to give some more advice, and stuff like that to management. And yeah, as you were saying, Lecavalier, absolutely incredible career, him and St. Louis. They played, together for 12 seasons with the Tampa Bay Lightning, won a cup in 2004. They shouldn't have. The puck crossed the line. Anyways, yeah, Lecavalier, he's a former client of Kent Hughes, the new GM for Montreal there. And yeah, no, I think the signing with Lecavalier and St. Louis, they're both, French Canadian. I think it's going to be a very, very good pickup for the Montreal Canadiens there. Speaking of Martin St. Louis, Brody, he picked up his first win as an NHL head coach on Thursday when the Canadiens beat, funnily enough, St. Louis 3-2 in overtime. Cole Caulfield, 2 goals in that game, OT winner. What do you think about Caulfield? Do you think he's on the rise again?
Definitely seems like he's on the rise again, and he's growing his confidence. I have seen in highlights of games like St. Louis talking to Cole Caulfield, trying to get his mojo going, and he's a very young player. He's a very skilled player, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to get his game back, and he's going to get back to the player that we know he can be.
I'd like to say I called it, Brody. I said in last episode, hiring Martin St. Louis will be the best thing for Cole Caulfield's career. The man was in a slump. He got sent down to the AHL earlier this season, came back up. He's been very, very quiet. Of course, you got to take into consideration that Montreal team is very lackluster this year. But I said it. I said Martin St. Louis will help Cole Caulfield get his confidence and give him tips and pointers and stuff like that, to grow his game as a small scoring winger. So you love to see Cole Caulfield starting to pick it back up. You love to see Montreal, picking things up, especially picking themselves up off the floor after this horrendous season so far. So Montreal making moves. Cole Caulfield starting to score again. It's looking good over there in Quebec. But let's talk about Ontario. Let's talk about the Leafs now, Brody. So Matt Sundin, he was on the Fans Morning Show on Thursday. He basically stated that he believes the future is bright for Toronto's young core, even though they've had all these early playoff exits. and he thinks this he thinks this not Montreal, sorry. He thinks this Toronto team will eventually win a cup. What do you think, Brody?
I mean, I think what he said is valid. The thing with Toronto is they're in such a crazy hard division. I mean, if they're even going to have a chance to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to have to get through Florida, Tampa Bay, or Boston. And those are three very good teams. And Tampa Bay is a two-time defending Cup champion who they might face in the first round. So Toronto has been there playing Boston. They've learned from their losses. I think they're going to come into the playoffs extremely motivated this year, and they're going to be very hard to play against. Personally, I would like to see the Leafs get out of the first round. I want to see somebody knock out Tampa. But, yeah, I mean, Toronto has a lot of good players. They got a great young core, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Morgan Riley. They're getting older. They're in the primes of their career, and hopefully Toronto can get past the first round this year and upset either Tampa or Florida and get off the hump.
Yeah, I think the thing about the Leafs, yeah, their early exits in previous playoffs is definitely going to help their experience a little bit, calm the nerves a little bit, get them, more situated better for these playoff games. Like you were saying, the Leafs, they are in a very tough Atlantic division. They're third right now in the division, but they're sixth overall in the NHL. So that just goes to show you how tough that Atlantic division is. And even then, Boston's right on their tail too. So the Leafs 8-2-0 right now in their last 10 games. Goal differential plus 45. Matthews is tied for second in the league in goals with 33. He also leads the league in 5-on-5 goals, which is good to see as well. But I think the one thing that separates this Leafs team from previous Leafs teams, Brody, goaltending. Jack Campbell has been on a whole nother level this year. He's been playing fantastic. He's second in shutouts with 4, fourth in save percentage amongst starters, and he's sixth in goals against average amongst starters as well. So I think that's the one thing is, Frederik Andersen he's a good goalie. Obviously, you can tell how good he's playing, this year in Carolina. But Freddie Andersen has been so injury plagued and he's been a little inconsistent. And I think with the play of Jack Campbell, and if he can carry that over to the playoffs this year, I have no reason to believe that Toronto can easily make it out of the first round, even beat a team like Tampa. I could see it happening. Like you were saying, their core is right in the prime time right now of their age. And what's not to like about their core? They're so balanced. They're so deep. They're getting secondary scoring. Their defense is really good, with a first pair of Riley and TJ Brody, and then you got Jake Muzzin, Justin Holl at the back there. Like they're a very, very well-balanced team, and they play very high energy. They're go. They're capitalizing on scoring chances. So I don't see why the Leafs, couldn't easily make it out of the first round this year. Yes, they are in a tough division in that Atlantic division, but I honestly, if I saw a Leafs Tampa Bay first round matchup, I'm taking Leafs. Like that's just straight up. I'm taking Leafs. So you heard it here first, Leafs fans. Zoo is on the bed. No, I'm not on the bandwagon. But I could see the Leafs going somewhere in this year's playoffs. So yeah, Matt Sundin, pretty bold. He thinks the Leafs could win a cup here in the next few years. Win a cup? I don't know. Maybe. It all depends on, if their playoff success is very limited, then I don't see it happening. But if they start going deeper in the playoffs instead of first round exits, you never know, really. So, yeah.
Plan the parade, first cup since 1967. You heard it here
55 years since a cup. And they haven't won a playoff series since Matt Sundin was on their team in 2004. Jeez. Toronto needs to start winning. Let's hope it happens soon.
Tough scenes.
Let's talk about some more NHL news now. So Jack Eichel returns to the NHL, and he's got his debut with the Vegas Golden Knights on the 16th. So far through 2 games, he's got 1 assist, -1, 4 penalty minutes. He's averaging about 17 minutes time on ice. What do you make of the situation, Brody? They had to move Mark Stone to long-term injury reserve. What do you think? Does bringing in Jack Eichel and moving Mark Stone out temporarily make Vegas a better team, or what do you make of the Jack Eichel situation?
I mean, it's definitely tough putting Mark Stone on LTIR. I mean, he's the captain of your team. Eichel's a great player, and he's definitely going to be a huge part of that team come playoff time. Right now, Vegas is comfortably in a playoff spot, so makes sense how they have Eichel come in right now, but definitely hurts them not having Mark Stone in. And yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do come playoff time, because they might pull a Tampa Bay and just keep Mark Stone on LTIR until they can get in the playoffs and then bring him back. But guess we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
I honestly think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Mark Stone's going to magically be healed. He'll be ready to go round one against, fingers crossed, the Oilers, not the Flames, because I don't want to play Vegas in the first round. But I think that's the exact situation that's going to happen. We've seen it happen a couple times now with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Nikita Kucherov, moving their best winger to LTIR and him magically being able to come back and play. So, yeah, Jack Eichel, it's nice to see him healthy again. Obviously, when you have a player of that caliber, has been out of the league and been playing on such a poor team for such a long time, it's nice to see him get a chance to actually thrive and succeed on a good team and in a good environment. So good to see Jack Eichel back. More news in the NHL. Brad Marchand's 6-game suspension upheld by Gary Bettman. Bettman basically felt, and for good reason, that Tristan Jarry's antics were not enough cause to make Marchand do what he did, his little sucker punch to Jarry. So what do you think? Do you think, looking back at this situation now, Brody, do you think that Marchand's 6 games is fair? Should it have been more? Should it have been less? Should it have been none? What do you think?
I think it's fair. I mean, obviously he's a repeat offender. He's had 8 suspensions over the course of his career. He's just been a rat his entire career. Sorry, Boston fans. But I mean, during that play, like, Jarry just made a save. He jammed at his glove, and then I don't know what exactly Tristan Jarry did, but apparently just aggravated Marchand, and as he was being taken away by the ref, sticks his stick out at the guy's helmet. Like, obviously you're going to get a suspension for that, and it's well deserving. I don't see any reason to make it less games. So I think it's definitely the right call by Gary Bettman, and Marchand's a repeat offender, so I think he deserved what he got on that one.
You know what they call that, Brody? They call it a taste of your own medicine. How many times have we seen Marchand, trying to instigate something, trying to get, pull people's strings and try and get them to goat them into doing something stupid. And it's nice to see Marchand on the receiving end of that. I'm going to be straight up honest. I love seeing that. And good for Gary Bettman to stand his ground and hold that 6-game suspension up. So Marchand out for 6 games. If he wants to appeal it with an independent arbitrator, he's more than welcome to. I highly doubt it. It's 6 games. Why bother? But I guess we'll have to keep tabs on the news for that. But Marchand out for 6 games, and the suspension will not get reduced or increased. So we got a couple milestones in the NHL, Brody. Let's talk about, I wanted to say let's talk about the less significant one, but when you play 1,000 games in the NHL, that's kind of hard to be not very significant. So Drew Doughty played his 1,000th game in the NHL on Tuesday the 15th. The defenseman's played all 1,000 games with the Los Angeles Kings. He was drafted 2nd overall in 2008 by them. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with the Kings in 2012 and 2014. He's also a 5-time All-Star. He won a Norris Trophy in 2016. He also won a gold of the World Juniors in 2008 and 2 Olympic gold medals in 2010 and 2014. What do you think of that, Brody? What do you think about Drew Doughty?
I think he's had an absolutely fantastic career. Very deserving of the 1,000 games played. And like you said, 2-time Cup winner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, World Junior gold medalist, and he's even a Norris Trophy winner. Like, he's definitely had a fantastic career, and it's far from over yet. And it's great to see the ovation he got in LA. And too bad they couldn't get the win against my team, but way she goes. But yeah, overall, great accomplishment for Drew Doughty, and happy to see him hit 1,000 games.
Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I would definitely say Hall of Fame for sure.
As much as I don't like Drew Doughty as a personality, I've never really been a fan of him. I'm forced to agree. Drew Doughty with the accolades and the statistics and the cup rings and the gold medals. When it comes down to the Hockey Hall of Fame, it's acknowledging the best hockey players to ever play this sport. And when you got a guy like that that's played over 1,000 career games in the best league in the world, he's been successful winning, the ultimate prize twice and stuff like that. you can't, just not acknowledge those feats. And I agree with you. I think Drew Doughty should end up in the Hockey Hall of Fame whenever he retires. Who knows? He's still got quite a bit of legs under him still. So congratulations to Drew Doughty there. 1,000 games in the NHL. The other milestone, which I had to say is a little bit more significant, no disrespect to Drew Doughty, but Sidney Crosby scores career goal number 500 on the same night as Drew Doughty plays his 1,000th game. Sidney Crosby is only the 46th player in NHL history to score 500 goals. He did it in 1,077 games, which is the 25th fewest amount of games to do it. He really doesn't need any introduction. If you've ever, watched a single game of hockey in your life, you know who Sidney Crosby is. 1,371 points in 1,078 games. He's an 8-time All-Star, 2-time Art Ross, 2-time Hart Trophy, 3-time Ted Lindsay, 2-time Maurice Richard, 2-time Conn Smythe, and of course 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He's got a World Juniors gold medal and 2 Olympic golds as well. Sidney Crosby, what do you think, Brody?
Well, honestly, I think it's very fitting that the person who assisted his 500th career goal is none other than Evgeny Malkin. Yeah, I mean, that's a great accomplishment for Sidney Crosby, and I mean, there's only 2 active players in the NHL right now that have hit that feat, and the only other one go by the name of Alexander Ovechkin. So it just shows how difficult it is in this league to score 500 goals, and for Sidney Crosby to do it in the amount of games he did. I mean, people forget that he missed half a season in the 2010-11 year, then he missed like the entirety of the 2011-12 season with lingering concussion symptoms, and at that time it was really up in the air if Sidney Crosby was ever going to play again. So for him to hit that feat of 500 goals is truly incredible, and his career is far from over, and wouldn't be surprised to see him get as many as like 600, 650 plus. So definitely a great career that Crosby's had so far.
Yeah, that's the one thing that people do forget about Crosby is that he did miss a significant amount of games more than Ovechkin and is still on pace with Ovechkin's point totals. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Malkin. I found a fun fact on Twitter. Evgeny Malkin has assisted on over 20% of Crosby's 500 career goals. So that is very fitting that Malkin got the assist on Crosby's 500th. Did you see the Instagram comment?
I didn't actually know.
So Malkin and Crosby and Letang posed for a picture in the locker room after that game. Chris Letang posted on his Instagram, said congratulations, tag Sidney Crosby in it. Evgeny Malkin, like Evgeny Malkin does, commented and said congratulations to the guy that assisted it and tagged himself. So I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty a good little joke, all in fun. But yeah, Crosby and Malkin, that dynamic duo in Pittsburgh has been running it for years there, and don't be surprised if they make another push this year. They're looking good. They've got very good depth scoring. They're not a force to be reckoned with over there in the East too. The East is still got some deadly teams over there, so don't be surprised if Crosby makes another run for a cup in his career. But like you said earlier, Brody, he sure is probably going to score a lot more than 500. So congratulations to Sidney Crosby there. 500 career goals in the NHL. Also, congratulations, Drew Doughty again. 1,000 games in the NHL. Let's move on to some international hockey now, Brody. So we are we're right about in the middle of the... actually, no, I think we're getting right to the end of the Olympics in Beijing over there. But... we have a gold medal finally in the females hockey. Canada wins gold again over the U.S. What a game that was. That was a very exciting game. I had 2 screens open. I was watching the Flames and Ducks game. I was also watching the Canada-U.S. game. They were going on at the same time. So when I wasn't cheering for Calgary, I was cheering for Canada. But Marie-Philippe Poulin scores twice for Canada. She now has the most goals, male or female, in gold medal games with 7. She's the first player, male or female, to score in 4 Olympic gold medal games. How about that? That is crazy. So yeah, Canada beats US 3-2 in the gold medal game in Beijing. What are your thoughts on that game, Brody?
Oh, it was a great game, and Team Canada is just very incredible team, that women's team. I mean, Marie-Philippe Poulin, like you said, she's an incredible player, scoring twice, her 3rd gold medal clinching goal, captain of that team. huge leader, and that entire team just completely dominated that tournament. I think they beat Sweden like 11-0 in the quarterfinals or something like that. Just stomped all over them. And yeah, that Canada women's team is very exciting to watch, and they've got some real talent over there.
Yeah, another player on that team, Sarah Nurse, she set a record for most points in an Olympic tournament for females with 18 points in 7 games. She also had a goal in that gold medal game there. Team Canada's female team scored 57 goals in the tournament, which is most in female history. So you can just kind of see how much dominance that female team has. And congratulations on them beating the U.S. in the gold medal game. I had an interesting stat, but I can't find it now. I think Canada's won something like 5 of the last 6 gold medals in women's hockey in the last Olympics. So, no shade thrown towards the U.S. female team as well. They are a very, very good team with Amanda Kessel and Hillary Knight and players like that. But yeah, so female hockey's done. Men's hockey not quite done yet. The only medal that's been awarded so far to Slovakia was the bronze medal. They beat Sweden in the bronze medal game. I think it was something like 4-0. Prospect Yuri Slavkovsky, he's a projected top 10 pick in this year's draft. He scored twice in the bronze medal game and had 7 goals in 7 games in the tournament. So that's something definitely to keep an eye out for. You see a guy that's 17 years old scoring a goal per game in a men's tournament. Yeah, and the Slovakia team too, like you see with like Canada and US and stuff like that, they have a lot of former NHL players. Not Slovakia though. Slovakia on that roster only had 2 former NHL players. Thomas Yurko, who played with the Red Wings, Oilers, and Golden Knights, and then Marco Dano, who played with Columbus, Chicago, Winnipeg, and Colorado. So interesting to see there. Slovakia wins their first ever medal in men's hockey in country history. What do you think about that, Brody?
Oh, that's fantastic for Slovakia. I mean, they're a pretty under-the-radar team, to be honest. I mean, nobody really gives them that much credit, and they're a strong team. I mean, I remember the 2015 World Juniors, they got a bronze medal, and no one even expected them to do any good in that tournament. So Slovakia can surprise you. They're a good team, and congrats to them for getting the bronze medal.
I think the coolest thing about international tournaments is seeing how much development has increased for hockey in so many different countries. Like you're starting to see more commonly in the NHL, a lot of players of different nationalities. For example, Germany, you got some top players, coming out of Germany, obviously Leon Draisaitl of the Oilers, but you also got like Tim Stützle of the Senators. You got Moritz Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. You're seeing a lot of countries that are starting to, increase their development in their players, and they're actually starting to pump out a lot of prospects. So, for example, Slavkovsky there, top 10 pick, should be a top 10 pick coming up in this draft, and he's from Slovakia. So that's cool to see. Another cool aspect I thought of, international hockey and stuff like that. This really flew under the radar, and I don't think this was talked about enough. In the round robin of the females ice hockey, do you know who is in first place country-wise for Group B, Brody?
I don't actually know.
Exactly. A 3-0-1 record. Japan! Japan was in first in Group B. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, we think about, there's been, the odd player that's cracked the NHL from, Japan or China or something like that. But to see, like, an actual team comprised, what's the word?
Comprised,
thank you. To see a team comprised of that entire country and actually succeed and dominate and be first in that pool, it's so cool to see because, back in the day, it used to be, if you, it was something like over 90% of NHLers were Canadian or American, and that's it. The bottom 10% is usually Sweden, Finland, Russia. But now you're starting to see so many players of so many different countries starting to get a chance to play the sport, get good at the sport, and actually shine playing the sport. So I think that's such a cool aspect. And I know there was an article that came across Twitter. I can't remember what news company posted it, and they should be canceled for it because the article stated that female hockey doesn't belong at the Olympics, and there was so much backlash for good reason. But this is one of those like situations where it's like, how can you think that? Like, there is so much, like, we always preach about hockey as a sport for everyone. It doesn't matter your race, your gender, it doesn't matter your sexuality, nothing. You should be able to strap on the skates and enjoy the sport for what it is. And seeing these, females and males of all different countries coming out to perform for their country and play and represent their country and have a good time and make these core life experiences that they might not have ever gotten a chance to do. It just helps to grow the sport so much more. And just storylines like that is just such a cool aspect to see. So it was a great, I didn't follow it as much as I should have. But it was a very good Olympics. I think it just because the time zones, it was a little bit hard to follow, but yeah. What do you think about the female and the males tournament this year, Brody? What do you think in the Olympics?
I just want to add to your point about the female hockey again. Like, yeah, obviously, like, the female hockey grows the game significantly. So for that article, I mean, that's crazy to think about. And I can't remember exactly which All-Star game it was. It might have been 2019, but in the fastest skater competition, I believe her name was like Kendall.
As Coyne Schofield, I think is her name.
Coyne Schofield, yeah, she skated in the fastest skater competition. She finished like under 15 seconds.
She
like,
smoked some players.
She was flying. Like, it was actually crazy to watch. And yeah, I mean, those female players are super talented. And
they're good.
They're really really good. Yeah.
Yeah, you put some skates on me. I played hockey all my life. You put some skates on me and you put me on the ice with them, I'm going to look like an absolute duster. Like, they're very, very good hockey players. They take the sport so serious. They train every single day. They practice all the time. They are very good hockey players. And, for an article to come out saying that they don't belong to the Olympics is absolutely ludicrous. Like, it's evident that they do belong. It's evident that they have the skill level. And, so that leads me to ask a question, Brody. So I know female hockey is a no-hit league. Like, you're not allowed to throw the body. Do you think we'll ever see the time where a female hockey player gets to play in the NHL?
Oh man, that is a tough question to answer. I mean, there's some women's players that are certainly talented enough. I mean, like Marie-Philippe Poulin, Hillary Knight, Amanda Castle, Sarah Nurse, like all of them, but when they don't hit in their league, and the men's league is a lot more physical, it's a lot tougher, those players are stronger, generally stronger. As of right now, I would say I don't see a fit for them playing in the NHL, but I wouldn't ever rule it out. But right now, I don't see it being very likely that they would.
Here's kind of my thought process on that whole concept of women playing in the NHL. If they're, okay, so here's the thing. I'm all about having an even playing field, especially like if we're talking like, in the workforce and stuff like that. If a female's qualified for the job, let the female do the job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you should never be hiring based on gender. Now, knowing that the NHL is a male league, I still feel the same. I feel that if the female is willing to go out there, willing to get hit, willing to throw the body, willing to play that physical style of game that isn't as, prominent in women's leagues, give her a shot. If she's good enough to play in that league and she's willing to, throw the body, take the hits, stuff like that, why not? Like, I really don't see an issue with letting it happen. And I also read another article. I don't think it's credible, but I don't know. I saw something about apparently an ECHL is trying to recruit Marie-Philippe Poulin. And I mean, by all means, if they want her to play, if she's allowed to play and she wants to play there, why not? So, I don't know. It's something to consider. I don't see a reason why we couldn't have females play in the NHL, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. But the sport, hockey has been obviously a predominant male league for so many years now. But seeing, this Canada-US gold medal game in females hockey was something like the fourth most viewed hockey game of all 21 and 22 combined. So it's obvious that there is fans of the female sport, and the amount of influence that these females are giving to, younger girls that want to get into the sport is just absolutely incredible. So I don't know if we'll ever see females in the NHL, but hey, if they do allow it, I'm not going to be opposed. I think it'd be a cool idea, and I would love to see it happen. So that is something to consider.
They did have a female in the preseason. I believe she played for Tampa Bay. I can't remember what her name was, but she was a goalie, I think, too, right?
Yes, she was. I'm trying to remember her name right now. For Tampa Bay.
I think it was in like the late 90s or something that she played.
It was Manon Riom or something like that. She was at the All-Star game. She was a special guest at this year's All-Star game. But yeah, she played a preseason game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think she had good numbers though. I really don't think she did. I'm trying to see if I can find her numbers. It wasn't pretty, but I mean, to see, a female in a preseason game, that's, obviously the right step, but if we want, the sport to be even more diversified, then, make some more steps towards that. So, yeah, she was, she played one preseason game with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was like Manon Riom, I think was her name, something like that. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add on today's episode, Brody?
I would like to point out that the World Juniors has been rescheduled for mid-August. They're planning to restart the tournament. They're going to start it from scratch, and they are also going to reschedule the women's under-18 championship for the summer as well. And looks like for the World Juniors, the tournament will take place right after the Hlinka Gretzky Cup. And the women's U18 Worlds was scheduled to be played in Sweden in January. That was canceled and will be rescheduled to be played in June, so pretty soon, and then within the next few months. And yeah, it was a weird thing because the World Juniors got underway and they played like a couple round robin games, and then Omicron just got crazy. They had to cancel them, and I think it was the United States. They actually had to forfeit some games, and then another team had to forfeit, and it was just a whole fiasco. And yeah, so they just decided to call it off, and yeah, it sounds like it'll be put up again in mid-August.
Yeah, it was one of those situations. I obviously, don't want to be chatting about COVID this whole podcast, but sounds like, the IHF did not take the tournament as serious as, players and volunteers and, members of the tournament thought they should have, which was very sad to see, but exciting that they're going to reschedule it. Thank goodness we're not going to miss out on the World Juniors, even though it's going to be in August, which is going to be a little bit weird because it's one of those things where growing up in Canada, it's kind of like a Christmas ritual where you celebrate your Christmas on December 25th and then you dedicate Boxing Day just to strictly World Juniors. But it's nice that the all the boys from all the countries are going to be able to get a chance to shine, and the ladies too in that U18 tournament as well. So it's nice that they're rescheduling it. I'm hoping I can go. I'm really hoping I can go. So when they first had the tournament, right when COVID hit, we had tickets. My family had tickets, and the tournament, they had no fans, so they canceled all the tickets. We weren't able to go. Then this year come around, bought tickets to a quarterfinals game, and that got canceled. So third time's a charm. I'm hoping I can actually get to see the World Juniors for the first time in person. That'd be the first time I'd ever get to see it in my 24 years of living. So fingers crossed, all goes well, no more COVID issues, and I'll be able to go see a World Juniors game. So fingers crossed. Anything else, Brody, you'd like to add to the podcast?
I think that's it for me. I think that covered all the topics that I have anyway. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, but I'm pretty good over here.
I think we've pretty much covered it all. It was a pretty exciting week in the NHL this week, and let's hope that next week is just as exciting. We're getting even closer to trade deadline, so hopefully the rumors start sparking up. Hopefully we'll have some more chatting to do about that. So fingers crossed, we'll keep tabs on the news for this week coming up. But we appreciate you all for tuning in and listening to the Cherry Pickers podcast, episode number 4. Our podcast is available on all streaming platforms, whether it be on Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. We publish one episode a week every Sunday at 12 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. And we appreciate every single one of you for listening, and we hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and take care.